Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pony 411. This is number 316 for the month of December 2021. I am Nemesis, and I am joined as always by Alcatraz.
Hello.
Yes, it is the final month of the year, 2021 already.
Somehow.
Yeah, so once again, we're still in that weird time somehow seems to simultaneously go faster and longer, faster and slower at the same time. Fun time.
Every day and every week drags on like it'll never end, but then suddenly you're at the end of the year and you don't know what happened.
Exactly. I guess a couple things happened. I got an Xbox Series X, I guess.
Yes, you did. To go along with your PS5. You got both 5. The rare ones.
Yep, got them both. Didn't manage to get a video card, though.
No.
That's even harder.
That's still the really, really hard one to get.
You got to manage to get those both also because I want to play Halo Infinite in 4K because, I've been playing the multiplayer and having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I still haven't touched matchmaking at all.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yep. We only have a couple more days until the full
Yep.
release.
As of when releases, it'll be the day after this releases, so
yeah,
that's a thing. Oh man, I'm really looking forward to playing that campaign.
Yeah, finally getting a new Halo campaign after
6 years.
It's really been 6 years since
It's been
5.
6 years.
I still remember.
Came out in 2015.
I remember getting Halo 5.
Yep.
I remember that because I got it at the GameStop after work. It's really close to my work. I remember driving home with it. Like, yeah, and then being disappointed. And then this disappointment.
At least multiplayer was fun.
Well, yeah, the multiplayer was pretty fun with some exceptions. I mean, everyone has their ups and downs about it, like especially with Warzone and whatnot. But
yeah,
I wasn't my disappointment wasn't as bad because it was tempered by Halo 4's disappointment. So it's like, oh boy, maybe it'll be better, but it wasn't. Maybe this will be better.
Yeah, it's gotten really, all the previews have gotten really positive reception for the campaign.
Yeah, well, it's a very, very different style, so we'll see how that changes things.
Yeah, there's that. Beyond that, I guess Christmas is coming. I did most of my Christmas shopping already. Most of it, except for a handful of things, which is kind of our pain.
Yeah, the way my family is doing Christmas shopping now makes it really mostly easy.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that stuff, I guess, for the most part. We're actually here to talk about pony stuff, and yeah, we do have some news and comic and some character things to coming up in this episode.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess we'll go ahead and just jump into the news. If you want to follow along with it, go to pony41.libsyn.com/shownotes. It's spelled LABSYN if you want to check those out and get more details. So let's go ahead and get started with conventions. BabsCon has announced Dana Simpson and Jeremy Whitley for their 2022 convention.
Yes.
And of course, they still also refuse to pay their artists properly.
Yes, that keeps coming up with BabsCon.
That's a lot. It's like they think they can get away with just not paying just because they're big.
They're big. They're one of the big ones.
Yeah, so maybe that will change, BabsCon. Maybe you should actually pay your artists after use their work for your promotions and stuff.
Yep.
There's a thought. Everfree Northwest has finalized their dates for 2022, and their con will now be on August 26th to 28th instead of the previous weekends that they were initially planning. So that's an adjustment you might have to account for now if you're going to book hotels and flights and all that stuff.
Yep. Now that it's like you said, it is now finalized. The contracts have been signed. They are set.
Mm-hmm.
Unless some unforeseen event
COVID too.
God. Yeah, the Omicron variant that has been popping up.
Curse you, David Cage.
Every time I hear Omicron.
Yeah.
Now because
I saw the Omicron. I was like, what did David Cage do?
Every time I hear about the Omicron variant now, I think about the best friends call it was that the sadness?
The sadness.
Yeah,
that sadness.
Watching that whole thing is like, oh no.
Fandom news and whatnot. Another so great and powerful vinyl crowdfund is up, but there's not a lot of time left. I believe as of recordings, like 11 days or something like. Where is it? 10 days left of recordings. So by the time you guys hear this, it's gonna be
less than a week.
Yeah, about a week or so.
Yeah.
So let's see, they're at 62 out of 100 needed to back it.
Yep. So they need a little bit more. It's what, £12?
$11.49, but yeah.
Yep, I got the first one, and this is a smaller one. This
Yeah.
has got a Sorceress Girl on it.
Dashy / Heartswarming, even a Sorceress Girl.
Yeah, so it's a smaller one than the last one, which was the standard model. That's what it's called.
Right. That's a thing to check out if you want it. There's only not a lot of time left, and they need more backers.
Yep.
Merchandise news. There is a listing for an Mlp Themed Scooter with an Alicorn Sunny figure.
Yes. It's a bit of a spoiler, but
it's a
it's
scooter.
been out for a while.
Yeah, it's a scooter comes with a figure.
Yay.
And you can stand on Sunny's face as you ride around.
It's funny that the we have a scooter on the character that looks a lot like Scootaloo.
A couple of G5 sets are also coming 2022, including a Sunny Lantern thing, which looks kind of interesting. Like put stuff in it. It looks like one of those.
Well, at least it's a lantern and not a jar.
Yeah. So you put it in there, and it's also the Pip set of some sort. What is it? It looks like well, it basically looks like just a room, I guess.
Yep, it's just Pip and accessories.
And last bit of merchandise news. Symbiote Studios has released Twilight Sparkle and Rainbow Dash plushies, and they're in high demand to the point of, I believe, Rainbow Dash is currently sold out.
Yeah.
Twilight is very low stock.
Yeah. They're very high quality. It's like 40E-esque.
Yep,
quality
$25
levels,
a pop. Dash is currently sold out on Amazon.
It's interesting that the Twilight is it's a unicorn Twilight, I think, is it?
Yeah, it's a unicorn Twilight.
Yep, no wings.
Yeah, they're both sold out on the Symbiote Studios website.
Shows there's still demand for some G4 plush stuff.
In comic news, a synopsis and cover for have been revealed for Generations number 5, the last in the series. The epic finale is finally here as Twilight, Starlight, Glimmer, and the rest of the main six and their new friends try to put an end to the evil Smooths tearing the friends of ship apart. Grackle and Dire take up the fight to Ponyville. The witches invade in the final issue of My Little Pony Generations.
Epic.
And in weird Equestria Girls / Friendship and Magic news, Roller Coaster Friendship, Forgotten Friendship, and Best Gift Ever are leaving Netflix in December, particularly on the 31st.
Yep, at the end of the year.
Which joins, I believe, Legend of Everfree was removed last month.
Yeah.
Everything is slowly disappearing. I don't know why, considering Netflix has the rights to G5. I don't know why they removed G4. That's kind of interesting.
I don't know. Maybe it's just something when they wrote... contracts and licensing get weird. Maybe when they wrote the initial contracts for the licensing, it had a listed end date, and it was.
I think they just renew it.
Ones. Yeah, they could just renew it. Maybe they
used to. Remember, there's
to.
been several times people freaking out.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, it's leaving, and then the last month it pops back out because they renewed it.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what that's about. The other stuff has not been reappearing, so I'm not sure what's going on. They're just letting us slowly get removed.
Yeah, maybe they just think it's not generating enough income and they don't want to renew it.
Whatever.
It could be it.
Anyway, those are leaving soon.
Yep.
In G5 news, the current plans for G5 releases apparently are a special in May, a first season in September, and a quote-unquote mini-movie for Christmas.
Mini movie. So I wonder if it's like an extra-length episode similar to Best Gift Ever.
This came from an Italian website. It's a 44-minute mini-movie, yeah, so they can't call it a movie because it's not feature-length.
Yeah, it's not feature-length. So it sounds almost like it's a special.
We have an idea of how G5 is going to work. I remember there was also the thing about there's something like about some Easter specials. Yeah, it looks like there's spring things. So that's going to be the thing, and so on and so forth. That's coming. We got some ideas of what the timeline is now.
Yep, and it's happening relatively soon.
Yeah. And supposedly a G5 2D YouTube exclusive thing will be coming in the spring as well. Again, I might be part of the same Italian thing, but yeah, another
2D.
Licensing mag. What was it called? Yeah. 2D animation thing for YouTube.
Yeah.
It says Italy, be available in Italy in the spring, but I guess that's going to be worldwide at some point. If not, or
probably. Well, if it's touching the internet, it'll be worldwide, whether they want it to be or not.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how that's gonna work out.
Fan subs, yeah.
And a couple of animatics for the G5 movie released by various people worked on it,
along with everything else that's come out.
Yeah, a couple of animatics, including apparently an extended version of some songs. They cut down the song for the movie.
Not unusual.
And the final bit of news. Do you like concept art? Good news. Now there's even more from the G5 movie. And of note is at one point, apparently the G4 ponies were actually going to be in 3D as well.
Oh, interesting.
Because one of the pieces of concept art was that they actually rendered out the G4 ponies in 3D.
I saw some of that.
So that looks like that was the case. So possibly we're going to do the intro thing in 3D as well before they change it to the 2D art style, just to make it more in line with the G4, I guess. And to differentiate it from the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be a story sequence.
Yeah, and I did like the way they did the 2D one, so I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and yeah, just like last time, it's going to be a big old list of just links to check out. I'm not going to bother sorting it because no.
Yeah, it's a big link dump.
Yeah, pretty much so. I'm not going to sort it. Deal. And that's the news.
The news.
Yep. So I'll go ahead and move along to our first of our topics, which is, of course, Generations number 2 has kind of come out. Apparently, TFA is dragging their feet for some reason. Don't know what's going on there.
That's been happening a lot, I've noticed.
This is really, because it says the release date was a couple weeks ago, and I still don't have it. I haven't even got an email about it or anything. Processing, nothing. So, okay. Got to get a different way.
Yep.
Anyway, Generations number 2, once again, written by Casey Gilly, art by Michelle Cassiatore, colors by Heather Breckel, and letters by Neil Uitake. Editor Megan Brown. Anyway, yeah, this is, remember the three new ponies showed up at the school because, friendship school needs help and all that stuff, and kind of weird, and everyone's got a little awkward, and then, yeah, Pinky shows them around, and they're just kind of tolerating that. So you got Violet, Shiver, Black Bell, and Shadow Storm. Ow!
The edge.
Yeah, anyway, they Pinky's showing around the school, and they're just kind of tolerating it, and then eventually they're like, then you got the which is like, do they actually know what they're supposed to do? We better make sure they know what they're supposed to do. And yeah, that whole thing, and they have to, re-explain everything, and they're gonna make everything all chaotic and bad, and everyone's upset and mad and all that stuff to make it so they can be easily revenged on.
Yep.
Also kind of bringing up, is it the matter which ponies we did? Because they said just the ponies. So yeah, there's that whole thing. And meanwhile, Rarity's a little concerned about some of the lessons that they're teaching. Or Starlight seems to be also concerned initially, but then she's like, I guess it's fine because you guys say it's fine. We investigated ourselves and found nothing wrong. And Starlight just takes her word for it. But yeah, that's the thing. And now we got the idea of the evil plan, which, yeah, they're going around and Ponyville messing things up a little bit. But yeah, they've only just begun. We're going to see more, I guess, in the next issue.
Yep. Apparently it's going to get even more chaotic, I guess.
Yep, bad. Chaos and bad.
Yeah. Once again, we see how quickly these ponies move to just anger against each other. The bonds of friendship are so weak.
Yep. They turn on each other. Again,
slight pretty good art, and they're all at each other's throats.
Yep. Pretty good art. The villains are pretty kind of edgy, but they also get this undercurrent of they don't really know what they're doing. Getting the gun because they are made of smooth.
Yeah, they are made of smooth.
So they get because their initial plan was we're just gonna tear up these bud cushions and stuff. Yay!
Well, because they were just told their instructions
make things weird.
Make things weird.
It's yep, and it's one of those things. I don't know I don't know how this is gonna play out exactly, but yeah. It's kind of interesting. They're kind of there's that whole thing where cupcakes are nasty because this isn't food for us. We need what was it they need? What they eat? They eat joy and happiness. They survive on garbage called cupcakes. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still interesting, but yeah, I don't know.
Sure. That's basically where I am with this one. It's it could be interesting. It's kind of neat. It's not bad. I'm not super oh, this is so good, I want to see where this goes. It's all right, we'll see where it goes. But I'm just okay.
We shall see.
We shall see.
Hopefully it works out and it's not crap.
Got what, 3 more issues?
Yeah, 3 more issues over the next few months. So yeah, it's fine so far. Hopefully it doesn't end in disappointment. Anyway, go ahead and move on to our second discussing topic, which is one I really like, because we're going to finally talk about Twilight Sparkle.
Yep, the last of the main 6 we haven't talked about.
Save the best for last.
Yep,
save the best for last. So Twilight Sparkle as you're probably well aware, is, well, pretty much the main character of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
Yep.
It's pretty established from day one. We can basically, we watch her from the beginning go from introverted, socially awkward nerd who thinks she's above friendship to, well, the princess of friendship who's ruling an entire country. With the help of her 5 closest friends. I guess technically 6 if you want to count Spike.
Yeah, we'll count Spike.
So yeah, that's we see her journey through this whole show, and because, well, it's kind of front and center. And yeah, it's one of the things she's a character. She is, again, she's the nerdy one. She's the one who's well read. She often is the one who has to come up with the plan. She's a natural leader. She's also kind of awkward, a little, sometimes has a hard time adjusting to things, and is so weirdly, which is funny just considering the whole thing, but that kind of makes sense because she has to learn about friendship. So why not the socially awkward one? Makes sense for her to have to, learn about it versus someone like Pinky who probably is pretty good at it already.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those, recently comics popped up, like, I need a princess, need someone, groom a new princess who's going to be good at friendship. Seaside, like, she'll do.
She'll do. The awkward one.
Yeah, so that's the thing. She's the nerd. And, well, we see, she is very much a nerd, and she likes to go on big, long tangents about whatever she's been studying recently, sometimes to the boredom of others, particularly certain sporty ponies. Who like to, I guess, nap through it. Because why not?
Why not?
Yeah, so it's a thing about her. We see her, grow and learn from that. And for me personally, she's always been my favorite from the get-go. She just kind of just wanted to, latch onto her because it was really easy to identify with her. Just the kind of the socially awkward thing in particular.
Right.
That just kind of, and, well, being able to go really long about things you enjoy.
Right.
And kind of sometimes maybe realizing that everyone else is bored, but sometimes just not caring because you just want to talk about it. So that's a thing. And that's her thing. It's, again, the natural leadership, which is always kind of the obvious thing. From the pilot episode, we have her element turning into a crown versus everyone else's on necklace. It's like, definitely won't be significant.
Nope, not at all.
And I remember that there was we got the whole, later on it was kind of revealed what Lauren Faust's original plans for Twilight were. Over the course of the series, she was going to eventually be Celestia's replacement and whatnot.
Yep.
Even though she kind of somewhat denied it at one point. It's like, no, that's exactly what the plan was.
No, that's what she planned from the get-go.
Yeah, and even planned to have Celestia offed. It's like, wow. Like, Celestia's going to, basically, she said, what was it? She put it as she's going to be Obi-Wan. Yeah, and Twilight was gonna lose it because apparently, her whole thing was that whole. Remember the episode with the Cutie Mark Chronicles where Twilight, started lifting up in the air with magic and going crazy with the magic and everything. That was the idea was she was starting to turn into an alicorn right there, and Celestia went, nope,
not yet.
We can't have a 5-year-old running around as an alicorn. That'd be really bad.
No, we'll just have an infant instead.
Yeah.
Flurry Heart ruining everything once again.
Remember, Lauren House had nothing to do with that.
I know.
At that point, but
I know.
And a lot of things obviously changed between for various reasons, Lauren House leaving all that stuff. But but that plan was always for sure to become princess and take over and all that stuff. Although I think that was one. Remember that one? That was when a lot of people were, particularly of the MLP boards, were genuinely upset over Twilight becoming an alicorn. Lauren Faust really kind of downplayed the idea of that she wanted to turn Twilight into an alicorn princess. She really downplayed that because she knew that wasn't going to play well with these people.
Which I would have loved to see her not downplay that, because that would have caused the channers and such to tear themselves apart, because they're also the ones who are just diehard Lauren Faust can do no wrong.
Yep. And so she's the one who says, oh yeah, that was always the plan.
Yeah.
Cue
absolute
tears.
Meltdown.
Cue brony tears. That was a fun time. But she's a socially awkward unicorn, magically gifted. That was another thing. Big one was early on, very much magically gifted, can do things no other unicorn can do. That was a big thing for her.
Although, unfortunately, they couldn't figure out exactly what magic was,
Yeah,
so her actual level of magic kept varying all over the place.
Yeah, it is one of those things that's like, because magic was so ill-defined. It often wound up becoming whatever it needs to be for the sake of the plot.
Yep. But that's not a Twilight issue.
Yeah, that's a writer issue.
Plus others, but yeah.
Also, of course, she's also very purple. I've always liked purple, even though it took me a while to admit that I liked purple. Because, you know, it's one of those things, you grow up in an environment of toxic masculinity, and, you know, on top of a whole host of other issues, which are only somewhat related, in a way.
Yeah.
You kind of go, no, I like red.
You know, purple's, oh God, that's such a stupid one too, because purple's never been a quote-unquote girly color.
No.
That's so recent, and that's only because it's tangentially connected to pink.
Yeah. And on top of that, I remember for me, the problem was when I was growing up, I was told purple is a gay color, and I was young, but I was also got the idea that gay is bad.
Yep.
You don't want that.
Yep.
So
yeah, and again, it's so stupid because purple has traditionally been the color of royalty.
Yep. Hey,
and
look,
kings would wear purple. That's because purple
was expensive.
Is insanely purple and blue has always been the hardest dyes to get a hold of, so only the wealthy could have it.
Well, used to be anyway.
Used to be. No, it doesn't matter. Purple's everywhere. But yeah, it was the color of royalty and nobles. It was
purple is nice color. So yeah, she got a very nice color palette overall. It's very pleasing because it all blends together. Really, you got the purple, and a different shade of purple in her hair. Blue stripes, you know, and the pink stripe and everything just works really well.
Yep.
It's not loud and brash and whatnot. It's a very just generally pleasing palette.
It's also bi.
Yeah, that's it too. Twilight Sparkle.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a whole thing right there. It's just really nice looking.
It is. That is one thing that Lauren really nailed. Especially because that wasn't her original color palette.
Yeah.
It started out, she was the Twilight Velvet colors, because it basically just imported the G1s. But then
whites and purples, which still works really well.
It still works, but then she redid the color palettes after Hasbro did the Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash thing, and then the color palettes changed and redid it this one. And Lauren nailed the colors on all of them, really. They all work so well.
Actually, if I recall, the original Twilight Twinkle is actually more of a pinkish with whites and purples as well.
Yeah, Velvet is mom, not Twinkle. Yeah.
Yeah, I was weird. Twilight Twinkle became Twilight, and then Twilight Sparkle.
Yep.
Yeah, because the only problem was just Twilight was those books series. That book series became big in the interim.
Yeah.
So we gotta do something. Twilight Sparkle. All right.
Didn't
vampires in Twilight Sparkle. Vampires. What vampires in me?
Didn't really help to stop the jokes, but
yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. And yeah, over the course of the series, we see her awkwardness kind of go away. But also, there's another thing. Another personality trait which I always really liked, which is the snark.
Snark light. Yeah.
Twilight Snarkle was just incredibly, particularly in the first couple of seasons, she was incredibly snarky. I loved it.
There's one that actually it kind of tangents a thing that I think about her. The first couple seasons, especially the first season, especially first few episodes, especially that first episode, she was actually kind of a jerk.
Oh, you want to talk about jerks?
I'm not going to say that.
I remember that's one thing I remember I wanted to bring up last time with the Rainbow Dash thing was like that was one thing that always put me off about Rainbow Dash was she was the one who always seemed to go out of her way to be mean to Twilight specifically.
And there were times that she did that. But I specifically remember the very first episode.
Oh yeah, the first episode where she thought friendship was beneath her, and these backwards hick ponies. One
of the things that kind of bugged me, it fortunately disappeared very quickly. Well, not completely disappeared, but definitely got dropped a bit. Her relationship with Spike, she was especially that first, she was just a jerk to him.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Yes,
but that was just like, wow.
He's just a fax machine.
It went beyond snark. Unfortunately, that did die down real quick. But she was kind of a jerk.
I think you're misremembering because she was never that bad as most of the fandom. I think.
No, I'm specifically remembering how it was in the first episode, especially Yeah, it was just. And it probably wasn't intentional. It did come across as like an intentional thing, but
I also remember that's largely the result of the writers. They saw Twilight, or they saw Spike as essentially a glorified fax machine.
Right, but it still doesn't
forcibly forced on them by Hasbro.
Yeah, but they did write things better because it still I did not like the way she kind of treated some of them. Like you said, friendship is beneath her, but it felt like they took that a little bit too far. Like, you're beneath me. Like, I don't care. Your interests are not important. You need to do what I tell you to. Stuff you care about doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that it probably comes from her. At the time she was as technically right.
Well, he is her assistant,
right? But the way she did it is just wasn't great. But like I said, that disappeared pretty quick.
I still think we're doing it. Whatever. Let's see.
Yes, how dare I say bad things about your waifu?
This is my episode. I held back last time. I was nice.
That's my biggest point. Okay, that's my only real big point.
Anyway, so yeah, she was very snarky about a lot of things. Was very sarcastic, and sometimes, and it was all particularly when things were kind of being ridiculous. She was very much willing to call it the ridiculousness of it. Of course, sometimes we also see she doesn't like to be in the spotlight. We saw that very quickly with Magic Duel. Well, not Magic Duel. That was later.
But yeah,
the Trixie episode that was called
Ghostbusters.
That's where it was. Yeah, that one. She's like, everyone's like, you just Pike in particular, like, do it, Twilight, you can beat her. And it's like,
Yeah,
but there's sometimes like some of her bumbling with magic was kind of weird. It was kind of like like the whole winter wrap up thing, no magic, which was just funny.
Yeah,
it was all right, but yeah, she tries to use magic. Of course, it goes wrong, which because they're right. No, don't use magic or winter wrap up. How dare you?
Well, yeah, and that's yeah.
That's one of those things. It's like it's one of those. It has to be this way so that she can't just breeze through it. But then of course that's where her organizational abilities shine.
Yeah,
she becomes a team leader because they're always late every year, and it's like, you need an organizer.
Bring out the spreadsheets.
Spike, get my notebook.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the thing. She's also very organized, although she seems to have kind of weird flights of fancy about how she wants to organize things, as we see from her apparently reshuffling of the library on several occasions.
I'm pretty sure they mentioned that that's actually a regular occurrence. It's like it happens at a very regular interval that she does that. She has it planned out. This is when we're going to reshelf everything.
Yeah, we're going to reshelf. But to a degree, it kind of makes sense to her library to do that, but it's mostly just to, fix the mistakes the patrons make.
That's why when you check out a book, don't put it back in the shelf. Yeah, they have carts.
Or a box or something.
You put them there so that the librarians can make sure they get put back correctly. Also, so that they can show that people have actually been pulling books out and reading them, and there's actual interest. That's another one. It's not just organization, but yes.
Regardless, it's small town librarians likely just Pony's just putting books in the wrong place, and Twilight just redoing it all. Just do it all because she enjoys doing it. Fair enough.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a thing with her. Maybe as I said, she also exhibits just kind of naturally assumes leadership. She just does because, no one else steps up, so she just kind of does it. And it's one of those things where she never, she doesn't have, she's like one of those perfect leader type things in the sense that she doesn't have grand ambitions or anything for, becoming, a leader or anything. She just kind of does it because someone needs to do it.
The best leaders are the ones that don't want it.
Yeah. And we see that if she struggles with the whole leadership thing, particularly later on, when it's become an official thing rather than just, she's just leading a group of friends on the adventure.
Except for the part where she feels left out sometimes when she gets a title and no one tells her to do anything with it.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, she struggles with the whole leadership thing in general at that point. Yep. But because she just kind of, when they go after Nightmare Moon, she kind of becomes the leader because no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
And they go chase after the dragon on the mountaintop. Twilight is the one who leads the charge.
Yep.
Of course, she makes the grand plan. Of course, kind of not for realizing that, of course, Fluttershy is scared of dragons. Because, Fluttershy never told anyone this. And she was fine with Spike, so it's not... Spike's a baby dragon.
Different.
Spike's a baby dragon.
Baby dragon. Different.
And so it's always a fun time watching her just snark in the early episodes and whatnot, and I always enjoyed it. And for a while it kind of disappeared. Unfortunately, the snark disappeared and died, and that was really kind of sucked. And in fact, to a degree, she kind of got shuffled off in the background, mostly because it's kind of obvious they're trying to push Starlight as the new center, and
waiting for that.
It's kind of obvious they're trying to do that, and yeah, they're pushed back and they back down. I've started like in late season 7, they backed off on that and put Twilight back in the center again. But it's pretty clear in season 6 and 7 they're trying to push Starlight to the center and put Twilight in more of a celestial role, and that did not take. Thankfully, I would have been so mad if like last 2 seasons Twilight was barely there, and I've been so upset if Twilight was barely there in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things. Snark did kind of disappear for a while as they tried to Celestia, and then as they kind of brought it back because I guess they saw the scuttlebutt on the internet about where's Twilight Snarkle, including on this very podcast actually. Where's Twilight Snarkle? Where's the snark? Give me the snark, and we got snark back, including fun ones like just her, like Rarity asking her what's your role, and Twilight being just very sarcastic. My name is Eye Patch.
Yep.
I wear an eye patch.
That whole episode.
That was a great one. And also one of those things that's like, see, where does Rarity Twilight not get an episode before this? They put the hop. Monochromatic was right. Yeah, so there's that whole thing. Beyond that, yeah, she's what the whole adorkable.
That was a big thing for that.
She's
always been a thing
so
for her.
awkward and yet so endearing.
The endearing awkwardness, not the creepy awkwardness.
And of course, speaking of we saw the early signs of it in season 1 until finally we saw the full meltdown in season 2, which is when things start to go wrong for her. She starts to lose her grip, and
yep.
Yeah,
she has the neuroticism.
Neurotic, yep, very neurotic, and yeah. So there's that whole thing. Of course, Lesson 0, and that's the controversial episode because of how I handled the subject matter. But whatever, I still enjoyed it. It was fun watching Twilight have a meltdown over something somewhat trivial, but because again, kind of relate to that. Something very trivial having a meltdown, but versus something big, kind of calmly going through it.
Yep.
Oh, that's not a big problem. What's that? I'm out of paper towels. Everything is ruined forever.
Yeah.
I've been there. But yeah, another thing, but speaking of the whole neuroticism thing, a lot of people interpret Twilight, and particularly early Twilight, as autistic.
Yeah, I
that was a very common early interpretation, and she does exhibit a lot of the traits. Bad at reading social cues, kind of atypical behavior in general, weirdly organized in certain ways.
With the what's the term I'm looking for? Hyperfixations.
Hyperfixations, yeah. We've seen there's one of those common things where she literally studied for 20 hours straight. Because she just wants to just keep reading her books, and she'll just all-night it without even realizing it's an all-nighter.
None of those things individually would be an indicator, but
all these things together, it
starts to form
a
picture. Yeah,
I'd buy the idea. Makes sense.
Of course, you filter out the then channers at the time who would just call everything autistic.
Yeah, but yeah, this was actual genuine people theorizing and whatnot.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. I remember some of that.
Oh, the fandoms. How the fandom reacted.
Like
I said, the autistic thing was often common. A lot of people, not surprisingly, latched onto her. She is still is one of the most popular characters.
Yep.
And
she's the main character in canon and fanon, basically.
Yeah. Sometimes, of course, fandom sometimes goes a little far.
As
like
the
every
fandom
time.
does.
Find Riser, basically she is nothing but meltdowns and whatnot, which the show has kind of got a little guilty of that sometimes too. Just nothing but meltdowns, and also adding weird character traits for no good reason other than just so we can see her meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just add a fear of, fandom again taking something from the show and running with it and just driving it down. Oh, she really, she really liked going to the Haber and eating Habers. Therefore, that's all she eats all the time. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That someone said, if a character ever eats a food on screen, that's now forever going to be their favorite food, and that's all they'll ever eat in any fandom work ever.
Yep.
And that's what happened.
So hamburgers or hayburgers are Twilights.
Yep. That whole
and
thing.
There's a whole thing about her hating cheese. Although that one didn't get quite as big as the hamburgers, I don't think.
It was
I see a lot of it, but
the case doesn't like quesadillas because it's just so cheesy.
Cheesy.
Then there's the whole ladybug thing,
which
that was bizarre and largely rejected.
Yeah,
except for jokes.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. It helps that was just a one-off.
Yeah.
Thing.
The short.
It wasn't a mainline video.
Yeah, that was one that was, I know, was kind of ridiculous because like, why would you do that, especially with the whole sunshine ladybugs awake.
Yep.
The other thing was kind of, I remember that was the whole thing with her. It's also the whole kind of in a way kind of born into privilege.
Yeah.
Camelot, close to the princess. Was babysat by a princess. Implied that her family is of nobility.
Yep.
Because living in Camelot and all that stuff. Yeah, they had a
unicorns living in Camelot.
Yep. That whole thing.
She is the aristocracy. And then she became a princess because of course she did.
Yep.
Because she's the noble. That's why she became a princess. That's why none of the rest of them got it.
Right.
Because of privilege.
Definitely not because she's actually good at it.
No. Yeah, but that's a whole thing. I've seen that actually play to good things where, they use that as the means to talk about that issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like in some fan works, I've seen that. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Of course, the big one, which I've kind of been dancing around, which of course the alicornification of Twilight.
The
biggest, most significant character change, which is we've talked about multiple times, but it has to be brought up if you're talking about Twilight Sparkle, because she was a unicorn, and in season 3 she becomes an alicorn. Cue fandom meltdown.
Yep.
It turned out fine in the end, although it's one of the things also as well. It's that point where I remember that point where it's like Twilight has now been an alicorn longer than she's been a unicorn.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then cue new meltdown. So she became an alicorn, and there was a whole thing about what, the whole debate about whether or not it was well done or she deserved it and a lot of that stuff and what it means. But in the end, yes, she kind of proved herself, and she's a natural born leader and all this stuff. And it kind of became the problem solver of Equestria. Oh, we got another monster? Call Twilight.
It's just less it did to begin with. Never took care of anything herself. Twilight deal with it.
Make Twilight deal with it. It'll be fine in the end. Right. So that was the thing. Yeah, it was. Yeah, the meltdown was pretty nasty, but it kind of finally mellowed out. Either people left or they just accepted it in the end.
5 stages of grief.
Yep. I'm just like, I just remember those days. Like, man, wouldn't it be so cool if Twilight turned into alicorn because the whole, she's just, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Hey, what? That'll never happen in the show, though.
That'll never happen.
Oh my God, it's happening.
It happened.
I remember that. Oh my God, it's happening. Get in the happening bunker.
Yeah.
I was so excited that whole point in time.
Yeah, I remember I was apprehensive about that whole thing at the time. I wasn't against it in concept. I was just worried about what would happen when it was done. But that was my biggest concern, is that like she was gonna get shunted off to the side.
But she almost did.
And she almost did. That was one
after,
of the...
That wasn't because of the alicorn thing. It was because of a new character they wanted to push.
Right, and that's the whole thing. It's like, it happened. Unfortunately, the way it happened, because the season 3 finale was not well received for multiple different reasons.
Yeah.
One of which people just didn't like the alicorn happening at all. But there was also the fact that the episode... It
was perfect and everything was fine. Shut up.
The words I used at the time were rushed and incoherent. And now that I know the backstory, that makes a lot of sense. It was they had to suddenly change it. Larson had to make sudden changes at the last minute because when they wrote the initial drafts, they were assuming that was going to be the last season, and then they got the renewal, and then they had to just to keep going, and they only had one episode because they didn't give it a 2-parter, so they had to shove everything together. It makes sense why it had its problems, and it wasn't all Larson's fault. He had to work with what he had.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help that she became an alicorn in such a rough episode, so that impacted things, and then it ended, and it's like, I don't know if I'm okay with this because I don't know what they're going to do with this, and now I don't know what's going to happen because it's the end of the season, and it'll take a while now before we see what happens. Fortunately, season 4 came out and things worked really well. I was like, okay, this is probably going to be fine.
I'm just thinking about.
And then season 6 came out later when all my fears have come back.
All the fears, but for entirely different reasons.
Yep. It's like this. Now they're doing it.
Yeah, the build-up, though, is what I was thinking of before the episode came out.
Oh, beforehand, yeah, there was so much.
There was so many leaks.
Yep. All the little leaks. I remember.
And I remember this intense finale. Man, I remember someone actually tweeted at me because I talked about it on Twitter, and someone tweeted at me telling me that I was wrong. I'm like, the evidence is right there. What more do you need?
Yeah, but just look at the last few years. People will easily deny evidence in front of their face if it doesn't.
Well, this was back in 2013.
Yeah,
when we were young and naive.
Young and naive. 4 years later, and then everything we realized.
Yeah. So Twilight, went through major changes, became the leader, and of course, made amazing physical change, which slightly taller wings, slightly bigger horn, slightly different design. Yeah. And then by the end of the final episode, which another controversial because she's just a Celestia clone now. Ignoring the fact they built a new rig from the ground up. It's not just Celestia recolored like a lot of people claim it was. Whatever.
Yep.
And there is significant design differences, but that doesn't matter. If at this point, a lot of people are already hell bent on hating the final thing anyway. So whatever. Yeah, it's one of those things I kind of suspected would happen. I remember that she would eventually get the flowing mane and stuff. I remember the season 4 finale. She even got the flowing mane briefly.
Yep, when she got all.
I was like,
power.
Is it going to be a thing? It is a thing. Just took another 5 seasons. She got taller.
You got to grow into it.
Yeah, that's a whole thing there. And her various relationships, the other characters, Celestia, of course, is kind of like a second mom to her sometimes. Sometimes it's just it's depending on who wrote it.
Yeah.
Of course, we didn't get really actually see her parents in any real significant role till way late into season 7, season 6 and 7.
Yeah.
We finally got to see her relationship with them, and they're, of course, her big brother, best friend forever.
Yeah. That
whole thing with the Twilight's brother that she has never mentioned before.
Yeah.
Wait, you actually did it in the show, and you actually kind of made it work? Okay.
Yeah, they pulled it off, and it also helps that
I remember at that point it was so common in bad fanfics. Just Twilight's secret brother.
Twilight has a secret brother.
Wait, hold on. This is just you.
Yep.
This is just you, Mr. Fanfic author. Hey, wait, where are you going?
Yeah, and then the show did it. Fortunately, though, Shining Armor was a great character, and Andrew Francis as the voice. It worked so well.
Yeah, but there's that whole thing, which is just really kind of everyone just missing her concerns. It's just you just being weirdly jealous or something.
But she was right all along. Wait, that was Applejack.
But it was also her. I didn't learn anything. I was right all along.
Yeah.
And that's everything. Other thing was almost every finale in premiere was Twilight centric. Almost. There's a handful that weren't, but she was very much the center focus because she was the main character. Yeah. So she got a large chunk of the show focused on her, and some people complain about that. It's like, what do you expect?
It's the main character.
She's the main character. Of course, she's going to get most of the focus. What else are they going to do?
Give it a Rainbow Dash. It's a Rainbow Dash show.
Ugh, gross. Disgusting. Take it away. Well, there's another Twilight. Sci-Twi.
Oh, yeah, Sci-Twi.
Which, there's a whole Equestria Girls thing, which, unlike with Rainbow Dash, is basically a Rainbow Dash, but a teenager. Sci-Twi is significantly different. Yep. Particularly early on, as time went on, they kind of made her closer and closer to Pony Twilight, but initially she kind of was basically Fluttershy, but nerdy.
Nerdy Fluttershy.
Which was, I largely blame Haber for that, because I recall he's on record saying he didn't like writing for Twilight at one point. So it didn't surprise me that when he was in charge of the third movie, he decided to go ahead and just completely rewrite Twilight because he had the chance to.
Or just wrote,
Since, if it makes sense, if he doesn't like writing for Twilight, he would, when he has to write for Twilight, and he has a chance to, just change how she's written.
Yeah.
So she kind of became more shy and awkward, and it was just kind of weird. Yeah, it was just very shy, soft-spoken and stuff, and they, of course, tried to turn into a villain and somewhat, and yeah, it's a whole thing there. But yeah, she's much more, rather than magic and stuff, she's much more into building things and science.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Different world.
Because they don't have magic.
Yep.
So if you're that kind of a person that...
But she still got magic for them geodes, so yeah.
Right, but that's... She didn't until that happened.
Yeah.
So instead of, I super nerdy and, leaning in how things work and doing all that sort of stuff, but you don't have magic to focus on.
She
You
just
focus
builds
on
robots.
the equivalent. You work on technology.
I call it Skynet. What?
Sit down. We have a movie for you to watch.
Sit down. Hold on. Someone get the hammer. We need to stop this now.
But don't you know? All you'll do is delay it.
Yeah, right,
It is inevitable.
It is inevitable. Yeah, let's just toss out the whole message of Terminator 2 so we can continue the franchise.
God.
But anyway, yeah, so Twilight is a bit different from Twilight. And unfortunately, that was my big thing, was they never really get to interact with each other that much. Twilight and Princess Twilight, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which, well, kind of was, I always kind of still be a little disappointed by the Rainbow Rocks' little teaser didn't really pay off as well as I thought it would.
Yeah.
I thought Twilight was going to be way different based off that. But
Yeah.
no.
No.
Oh well. At least we got
Alas.
great sunset. It's also kind of like Twilight, something a little different.
Yep.
But we already talked about that.
We already talked.
Yeah, so it was the thing. It was just over the course of 9 seasons, of course, Twilight changed, grew.
Literally.
Yep. Adjusted. And of course has our big old impassioned friendship speeches, which that's when things are getting real.
We have the big speech.
I love those. Unironically, I do genuinely love her big speeches.
Well, the
They're
big
always
impassioned speech, when done well, is such a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
We will not go quietly into the night.
Shut up, Belle Paxton. But yeah, that's the whole thing there. It's just she's a lot of fun. And it's always been a lot of fun, and just identifying with her and whatnot. And it's just, she's always been my favorite for a reason. And she's just a lot of fun as a character. And of course, Tara Strong did a wonderful job bringing her to life. She just, sells it between just the awkward weirdness, the awkwardness, the excitability, just even the matter of factness sometimes. How he says, "How right I am," just the sass. The snark.
Didn't Tara originally go into audition for a different character?
She was auditioning for Pinkie Pie.
All right. And they went, yeah, no, you're Twilight.
Lauren went, I want you to voice Twilight.
Yep. Good choice.
Imagine how different it would have been.
Imagine.
It would have probably likely if if Tara Strong wanted him being Pinkie, it would have liked him and Rebecca Choquette voicing Twilight, I guess. And well, who knows?
Still could have worked.
Yeah. That would have been very different because
Very
Twilight would pretty much probably want to sound a lot like Sunset.
Now I'm imagining like a what if series with the original G4 designs and the original audition attempts.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It's that's a whole thing. But yeah, she's fun time.
Twilight is a great character. Yeah, I know I talked about her being a jerk in the first part, and you got me. It's like, oh, can't diss your waifu. Twilight has always been my second favorite character,
Right.
Since day one. Rainbow Dash has always been my favorite, but Twilight's always been a second for a lot of the same reasons that you've pointed out. Not quite in this 100% to the same extent, but yeah, a lot of relatability there. Kind of awkward, kind of nerdy. Yeah, a lot of I can echo a lot of your statements and a lot of that.
The unfortunate thing, though, is like you have to deal with the jar. I had to deal with the knowledge that Twilight is the single most popular character on E621, not just in Pony, but for everyone.
Oh God, yeah.
I have to know that.
You have to know that.
Also, I know there's a certain fan I know of. I'm not going to mention names or any details because it's gross. But there's a certain fan that I have to deal with knowing exists.
Yeah, that jar. God, the freaking jar.
Well, that's one thing.
Yeah.
I know. I have seen things.
I have seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's the problem. Popularity comes with a price sometimes.
Yep.
But anyway, she's my favorite, and
My second favorite.
she
She's a great character. She
and
really
Sunset
is.
are the best.
And Dash and Twilight are my two favorites. Sunset's a great character too. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
Sunset's great. She has that this intelligence and somewhat she can be nerdy, but she's also got that twinge of confidence and arrogance that I catch in Rainbow as well. Sunset's got that too, which I really like. But yeah.
Except he's a little less reckless about it somehow.
Yep.
But I remember this old thing. Some weird little thing
now.
wrote was like someone like wrote a comment on a clear, sunlight picture, and it was like, "Face it, Twilight. I'm a bad girl who knows her science. Who I said the dangerous bit knows her stuff. You can't resist this." Oh crap!
Oh no, you're right.
Yeah, so that's a whole thing. And yeah, Twilight great. Twilight good.
She's great.
I don't care what people say about how she got ruined later in the series. She kind of was on the precipice, but
it was not really G1ers here. It would be like S1ers.
Oh yeah, pretty much. But yeah, Fausters, the Faustians,
Faustian bargain.
Yeah, so that's it for her.
Yeah,
and that's it for this episode because we have no fan content.
No, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
I thought of some stuff, but nah.
Yeah. There's one I was thinking of, but I was like, but that's it for this episode, and that's it for this podcast.
Yep.
Been thinking about this for a long time, and I didn't really know how to break it to you guys, but yeah, it's this is the last episode, like for real. This is over.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I've been thinking about it, and I'm honestly starting to burn out on Pony a bit. And on top of that, G4 is over and whatnot. And like, it feels like I've said what I've wanted to say and what we've want to say and everything. It's like we've run out of things to talk about, essentially. And I don't want to drag this on, just kind of trying to force it to keep going just because it's expected or whatever. And that would just lead to worse and worse quality over time. And I don't want that. I want to go on a high note. And yeah, I thought about holding off for G5, but it's the G5 movie. While I liked it, it didn't have give me the same spark that G4 did. If you, I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about.
The spark.
Yeah,
nice reference.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not the same. It's like there's a lot of stuff I like, but I don't like. But I'm not rushing out to try to go talk about it for an hour every week.
Right, and
that's what it is. I'll probably keep up with it, but I'm not going to be like coming back, I think, to this.
Yeah, because the series isn't out yet. We don't know exactly how that'll go, but
yeah, this is not a hasty decision. This is something I've been thinking about for a while, and I decided, this is a good way to go out. Just kind of us talking about our favorite characters.
Yep, the last two are our biggest ones.
That's kind of a good way coming because we've covered every episode, the spin-off with the question, everything there. We covered the grand majority of the comics. Yes, we're going to miss the last few generations, but I'm not going to extend it out just to cover those.
Just to talk about those things. It's if you haven't knows, we're doing it now once a month instead of our once a week where we started out. We've been kind of stretched for topics. It's
we realized we weren't gonna.
Yeah,
we got lucky a couple times.
How many years?
It's been nearly 10.
Yeah,
I've been doing this for nearly 10 years. We started in August of 2012.
Yeah,
it's now 2021, end of 2021. Yeah, it's almost 10 years I've been doing this. So it's a long time.
I came in a little later.
It's been a long time, and it's just one of those. It's time for me to move on.
Yeah, I can feel the burnout a bit myself as well. It's not like I don't like Pony.
Right, exactly.
And that's one I really want to reinforce. I know a lot of people will disappear, or in the fandom they'll stop doing what they do. Artists will stop drawing Pony. Musicians will stop making Pony music or whatnot, and they'll all have their own reasons. And a lot of them will say like, "Oh, I'm just not interested in ponies anymore," and they basically leave the fandom. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not dislike ponies. It's just the podcast itself is like you said, we've said what we've wanted to say. We got not much else, other topics to talk about.
It's been nearly 10 years.
It's been, we've been doing this for you've been doing this for like 10 years. The podcast doesn't have any more legs to go on, but I'm still here, interested in ponies. I'll still be, lurking in the fandom as I normally do. I'm still reading materials. I'm still looking at all the art. I'm not leaving the fandom as some do.
Yeah.
I still love ponies. Pony still is such a huge part of my life.
Yeah, it's fun.
But the podcast itself has reached its maturity, and I got nowhere else really to go on this one.
Time to bring it to a close. But it's just one of those things. And
it's better to bring it to a true close instead of just disappear off the face of the planet.
Yeah, exactly. It's better to do that, and also better than just kind of keep struggling, keep it going when you're clearly not into it, your heart's not into it anymore.
Yep, it's like when you keep adding seasons to a show that should have ended a long time ago.
Exactly.
And it just is worse, and it leaves a bad impression across the entire thing.
Yeah,
so
that's it for this entire podcast. I want to thank, first of all, some of the original hosts, 4-String, Lord Funky Fist, ArtFan88, Fusion Fox, for being there and helping me, start this thing in the first place, and being, being interested in, as long as they did. I want to thank you for doing this for almost as long. You've been doing this for like 9 years. So actually 8 years for you.
8
so
years.
It's been a while for you. You've been doing this. You've been, found music and everything, and brought your own unique perspective to everything on the show as well. Argued.
I will argue my favorite character against your most hated, being your most hated.
I would like to also thank Ponyville Live and Ponyville FM for giving us a shot by just say, hey, you want to join us?
Yeah.
Ponyville Live might have died essentially. At this point, I'm pretty much dead.
They're basically.
But Ponyville FM is still going strong. Yeah, you guys should definitely still check them out regardless.
Ponyville FM is an amazing place. It's still highly active. If you like music or fandom stuff, check them out. Really, they've been absolutely incredible to us. I gotta give, if I want to give any particular person, Squirrel
particularly,
Squirrel,
very, very, very helpful for us. Of course, the obvious, this shout out to the people who made the show, the comics and all that, all those people, Lauren Faust, M.A. Larson, Jeremy Whitley, Josh Haber, even
Josh Haber, Jim Miller,
the
whole cast and crew,
Tara Strong, Andrea Libman, Tabitha St. Germain, Ashley Ball, all of them, just
all of them.
Thank them for making it and making it as special as it was.
They've changed our lives completely. I was such a different person. I was not a great person then. This whole show changed everything. So we have to give them so much thanks.
Yeah, and of course, thank you, listeners.
Yes.
For listening to us. If you've been here from the beginning or you just showed up, and by the way, if you just showed up, I'm sorry.
So sorry.
I know it sucks to get in something right as it's closing. In any which way, though, thank you for ever, giving us a shot and listening to us. Thank you for your comments and just being there for us. We appreciate every single one of you who listen to us.
Yeah, stuck around and listened to us gab on about nothing for an hour.
And those of you who argued with us occasionally about stuff we said.
Yeah,
some of you. There's one or two of you that definitely know. You are not a good person.
Fortunately, we didn't get a lot of that. Is some
occasionally
in the fandom have, but there was a couple.
Talked about certain topics. Definitely came out of the woodwork occasionally to.
I think we were lucky that we didn't catch as much of those kind of people as a lot of other people in the fandom have. But
it's been a long time. I think we are literally the longest running podcast in this fandom.
Yeah,
I think every single other one is either new or they're long dead.
Yeah, we definitely weren't the most popular.
No.
Definitely not. I think a little too late on the podcast side of things, because podcasts in general have also been kind of waning. The golden era of podcasts is over. They're still around and still super popular, but it has, like the fandom itself, it had its peak and has now come down to a more stable resting point.
Pretty much.
I remember the Bronyville guys.
Bronyville, Brony Show, Stay Brony.
I know MBS is still running. They're still doing their regular
Yep.
things all the time.
Yeah,
There's still other ones around, but our time is done. The age of Pony 411 is over.
Yeah, pretty much. If you, there's one last thing. If you want to check out our Twitter, personal Twitters at all, I'm at Nemesis Prime 1. He's at Alcatraz717_ at the end. I'm still tweeting there occasionally. If you like Transformers at all, I do video reviews of the toys. My link is in the Twitter, but yeah, Nemesis Prime. It's Twitter, youtube.com/Nemesis Prime 0 is my YouTube channel if you want to check that out at all. Of course, there's our other podcast. We're still going to be doing that one for a while.
Yeah, we're still doing that one.
That's set up differently, so we can do it for a long while if we really want to.
Yeah, anime is always
new to
getting new
Weeaboo.
stuff.
If you want to check that out at all, we're still going to be babbling over there about nonsense.
About weeb nonsense.
Weeb nonsense specifically, and sometimes getting it wrong because
we're new to
it.
That's the
culture.
whole point.
Yeah, so if you want to keep checking us out, that way, if you're into anime or you want to get into anime at all, yeah, check that one out. And I know kind of plugging at the end of a show like this is kind of weird, but just in case you want to keep checking us out on anything.
We still exist. I don't post much of anything on Twitter. I'm basically a professional lurker.
Yeah.
But if someone does have specific questions for me, I don't know why you would, but I'll see them and I may answer them. I'm there. I read. I watch.
Yeah. So this is goodbye, everyone.
Yeah. It's goodbye.
It's been a wild ride, but this is where I get off.
At least on the podcast side of things,
Yeah.
you'll never
right.
fully be able to walk away.
But yeah, but of course, just because we're over doesn't mean you can stop ponying responsibly. You still got to do it. As long as you pony, you got to pony responsibly.
Yep.
You gotta just.
Always remember.
It's been fun, guys.
It's been a wild ride, but that's where this one's done.
Yep. See you around.